Here is the unified, ready-to-voice Cancer horoscope script for Friday, July 31, 2026, synthesizing all 6 source readings into one continuous narration. There is a moment today when a Cancer will catch themselves halfway into a daydream and wonder how long they have actually been there. If that sounds familiar, stay with me because today's sky explains exactly why and what to do about it. Something has been quietly widening in your inner world for a while now, Cancer, and today it is asking you to look at it directly. Neptune, the planet of dissolving edges and beautiful illusions, has been moving through the parts of your chart tied to your goals, your career direction, even the courses you are taking to build your future. In Western astrology, Neptune is not concerned with what is practical or provable. It is the planet of enchantment, of escape, of a world just slightly softer and more magical than the one you actually live in. Think of it like snorkeling. You dip beneath the surface into a shimmering, distorted version of reality, and it is genuinely lovely down there. The question Neptune keeps circling back to is simple. What is that underwater world actually giving you? And where does it stop being restorative and start being avoidance? That is the long-term undertone of your month. But today has its own more immediate architecture. The moon, your ruling planet, is having a conversation with 2 other points in your chart, and both conversations matter. First, from an evolutionary lens, the moon sits in your depth realm and forms a supportive trine with Mars in your spirit sector. That is the astrological language for courage meeting emotional honesty. Second, the moon is also making a sextile to Saturn private 8th house territory, reaching out to touch Saturn's placement in your 10th house of career and public responsibility. That is structure shaking hands with vulnerability. Here is what almost every generic horoscope will miss about today. These 2 lunar aspects are not separate events. They are the same emotional current showing up in 2 different rooms of your life, one intimate, one professional. Let us start with the intimate room. If you have been sitting on the sidelines of a soulful connection, hesitant to say what you actually want, this trine between your ruling moon and bold Mars can loosen that hesitation. Not by handing you certainty, astrology never does that, but by giving you access to a little more nerve than usual. Many people with this kind of trine report a subtle green light in their gut, a sense that one honest step forward will not be met with disaster. Ask yourself, quietly, where you have been holding back out of habit rather than out of real caution. Then take one step past that edge. A meaningful reward could follow. Though the size of that reward is impossible to predict, it depends entirely on what you actually do with the opening. Now here is where the chart takes an unexpected turn, because the same sensitivity that helps you open up in love is also useful in a completely different context today. Money and shared responsibility. The moon's sextile to Saturn favors conversations about shared resources, joint finances, budgets, timelines, or expectations with someone who has a stake in the outcome with you. This is Saturn asking for structure and the moon asking for honesty at the same time. If there is a slightly sensitive financial or logistical topic sitting between you and a partner, a family member, or a colleague, today's energy suggests it will land more smoothly than usual as long as you keep the tone respectful and the details specific rather than emotional. When feelings start to rise in that conversation, the sky's advice is almost mechanical in its simplicity. Return to the facts. Clarity, not intensity, is what earns trust today. Let that sink in for a moment, because this is really the through line of your entire day. Whether you are being brave in love or being precise about money, the same lesson from Neptune's larger cycle is quietly present in the background. Escapism feels good, but it does not build anything. Structure does. Honesty does. One tradition frames this through Mars-fueled courage, another frames it through Saturn's demand for clear agreements and both are pointing you toward the same act of showing up as your real self instead of your comfortable, misty daydream self. Career-wise, that Saturn conversation is not confined to money. Sits in your 10th house of career and public role, so the same discipline that helps you clarify a shared budget can also help you clarify expectations at work. If a responsibility has felt vague lately, who is accountable for what or what timeline you are actually working toward today rewards you for asking the direct question rather than guessing. This is not a day to pick fights over small workplace friction. The wiser move, astrologically speaking, is to keep your head down on your own tasks and let the Saturn sextile do its quiet organizing work rather than getting pulled into other people's conflicts. That same practical mood extends naturally into your finances. Nothing dramatic is indicated here, but the cosmic weather favors clarity over assumption. If you have been unclear on a shared expense, a repayment, or a financial timeline with someone else, this is a more favorable window than most to lay out the specifics calmly. Progress may feel slower than you would like right now. Growth is indicated, but at a measured pace rather than a dramatic leap, so patience matters more than urgency here. Here is what makes today genuinely worth paying attention to. It is not one dramatic transit, it is the fact that your most private emotional world, your ruling moon, is simultaneously touching your boldest planet and your most disciplined planet on the very same day. That is a rare kind of internal coherence for a sign that often feels torn between hiding and connecting. What it means for you is this. The same vulnerability you might normally reserve for a journal entry or a long soak in the tub is, today, actually welcome in the real world, in a hard conversation, in a bold romantic move, in a clear budget talk. Most people will experience this as just a busy, mixed bag day. You now know it is something more specific than that. With energy running a little lower than usual, thanks to that same slower growth pattern, treat rest as productive rather than lazy today. Take breaks when you need them and refuel properly rather than pushing through on willpower alone. If you find yourself craving the underwater, snorkel mask version of reality, a show, a fantasy, a few too many hours scrolling, that is not automatically a problem. The question worth sitting with is the one the sky keeps asking. What is this escape actually doing for you? And where is the line between rest and avoidance? A trusted friend or partner with a good instinct for nonsense can be genuinely useful today if you are having trouble seeing that line yourself. On the wellness side, gentle grounding practices, a short walk, a few minutes of quiet breathing, even just naming out loud what you are avoiding tend to work better than force today. If you are someone who works with a Vedic astrologer on remedies for Saturn-related themes, that is a conversation for your personal chart and dasha period specifically, not something to adopt generically off a video. A color like brown, associated with grounding and home energy in Vedic tradition, is a safe and simple choice for anyone to wear today regardless of chart details. Speaking of home, that grounding theme carries straight into your evening. There is a real chance today brings a softer, more domestic mood, the kind where being around family or close housemates feels unexpectedly satisfying rather than routine. If you have been running on autopilot with the people closest to you, today may nudge you toward noticing how much they actually support you and toward doing something small but genuine to show it: a call, a cooked meal, an honest thank you. Socially, keep it low-key rather than overextending. The day's energy rewards depth over breadth. Travel is better left for another day. Nothing in today's sky is pushing you toward long journeys, and that is genuinely fine. Use the stillness instead for something quieter. A few minutes of reflection on where your Neptune-fueled escapism has been serving you and where it has been costing you. Picture it like standing at the edge of that underwater world with the mask in your hand, deciding whether to put it back on or come up for air. Either choice is valid today. The point is that it is a choice, not a drift. If you like quick, practical markers, here is your shortlist for the day. Brown is your supportive color. The window between 5 and 6 in the evening carries a gentler, more auspicious feel. Your energy is best spent on honest conversations rather than avoidance, and your ruling moon is, quite literally, on your side today. So here is your actual plan. Pick one honest conversation you have been avoiding, romantic, financial, or professional, and have it with facts, not just feelings. Protect your energy by resting without guilt if you are low on it. Do one small, real gesture for someone at home who has been quietly supporting you. And the next time you catch yourself drifting into that comfortable underwater world, just ask yourself, gently, what you are actually swimming away from. You do not need certainty to move forward today. Cancer, you just need a little more honesty than usual, and the sky has already met you halfway. If this kind of grounded, no fluff reading is useful to you, staying subscribed means you will not miss the days when the sky asks even more of you than this.